Good early evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin Stern coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And as promised, last week I said I would bring out one of the tactical food pack rations that were made in Estonia. And this is one of the two menus that I was able to buy that Amari Mountain had. And it's a freeze-dried main, so there's actually no need for the flameless ration heater functionality, but I wanted to go ahead and bring out this bag that has the heater element. Obviously, I'm not going to open it, but there would be a tear notch. There's a tear notch here. You open the bag here, which I will do. Obviously, I'm going to get all the stuff out. Here you can see this black side, but there is a hole right here. And when you put the heater element in, plus whatever you're going to heat up, plus a recommended amount of water, you seal up the zip seal, and it will vent through that hole. And it looks like there's only the hole on the one side. So, because I'm obviously not going to use this FRH, I'm going to save this bag. And then once I've emptied all the contents out, let me fix that. This bag is so tall, I keep bumping the camera mount, so I have another bag that I will use to put the trash in. Didn't get it clean as cut as I thought, but here we go. So inside of this you get the entree, which is in a gusseted pouch, and it's a fairly substantial gusset, so you can open this thing pretty wide. And you get the energy drink, which is also in a gusseted pouch, so you could mix this inside of the pouch. It calls for 375 mils of water, which is probably about 12 ounces, something like that. Then there is some turkey jerky, honey and mustard flavor, and there's appears to be a fairly substantial amount of jerky in here. That is for extra protein. And this is the core shake. It's a tropical blend. It's again designed to mix in the pouch if you wanted to. Then you get some very well vacuum sealed rye bread. This is similar to what you might find in Latvian rations and some other Estonian rations. After all, this comes from Estonia. There may be some other countries that would use a similar type of bread. And you get a wet wipe. And a pretty good size spoon. I mean, look at the size of that. This would be like a tablespoon and a half capacity. And that is everything that's in the bag. So I am going to put the heating element in here, and then I'm just going to zip this back up. I mean, look at the size of this thing. I got out my Tupperware tray because these are the only two food items in here. So it calls for 300 mils of water. There is an oxygen absorber. I'm going to give you a look at the Best Buy on this. 2030. So I could literally sit on this thing. Well, not literally sit on it, but I could hold on to this thing till at least 7 more years. And because I want to hold on to that bag so that I can actually use it as a flameless ration heater, I'm going to be employing a Walgreens bag for trash disposal. That is the oxygen absorber. I'm trying to shake all the seasoning off of it. Smells good. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and put the water in here, mix that up, and then close it up. It has to sit for 10 minutes. And I am going to be using my longest teaspoon because this would just barely fit into that bag. Then I'll be right back. folded it over twice after I sealed it. I'm giving it a shake. This one calls for slightly less than a cup, so 200 mils of water. So I am actually going to mix this one in the bag. That's what that looks like. So it is going to be yellow, so it is kind of clumped up. I wasn't sure how much water I would need, so I brought out both of my insulated bottles. Because this is kind of clumped up, I'm actually kneading the bottom. I just added a tiny bit more water to it. And I'm going to let that sit. This one calls for, I said, 375 mils of water. This is just a regular drink. It's a grapefruit flavor. It's nice that these have English on them. I'm going to pour this one into my drinking jar. And I'll just mix it in there. It was a very, very white powder. So I guess I only needed the one bottle. My kettle is still on the stove. The reason for that is this ration does not come with a hot drink option. but I chose to get one out of my stash. Sometime back, someone had sent me some pour-over coffees. See, I had one of them, and I have two left. So I'm going to have one of those tonight. But this drink mix has a lot of powder in it, so I want to give it time to dissolve. This looks like it would be like the yellow or white grapefruit as opposed to the pink. So this is the Coffee Cow Company. Yeah, I haven't looked at see who's in here yet, so I'm going to do that real quick. Let's see, Spicy Tuna Rolls is here, Cliff. DeCarlos Perry is here. I'm scrolling back through the chat. Chicago is here. Infos is here. And that is as far as I can go back, at least on the chat. This one does not have a tear notch. Basically for a pour over, it has these things on the side. You just simply pull them out. And they sit over the mug, and then you just tear off the top. And then you open the bag. So I will go back for the kettle. And the idea is you just slowly pour the coffee in. And you got to make sure that this actually hangs over the side. And then you allow it to filter down. So this is regular grind coffee that you might put in a coffee maker. See, now you can see it kind of foams up and then it goes down. You mean like the coffee bag? Like I've had the Folgers, like the coffee bags that look like tea bags, but it's coffee inside. I like those for camping as well. The good thing about those is, you don't have to worry about maybe this dropping or this tab breaking, and then you lose the whole thing into your cup. So that's why I'm picking it up, because otherwise I would be banging my foam out with the kettle. But you should be able to see the level of the liquid rising as I add more water. Of course, you can always do this as well. You can pick it up to see how much is dripped down. I spilled a little bit there, but that's okay. And I think that will actually do it for this. I have creamer and sugar in the mug already. I will get the kettle, and I'll go ahead and get rid of this, and I'll be right back. This bit. Sorry about that. I'm going to open up the jerky. That didn't open very well, but and they use an oxygen absorber in the beef jerky, or the turkey jerky. It's pretty soft jerky. There's no tear notch on the bread, so I'm cutting it open. So this is what the bread looks like. And then the outer sides are shiny. I brought an additional glass to pour this shake into. Well, that didn't quite mix as well as I had hoped. I will have to stir it. I just put a splash of water in the bag to get the rest of the stuff out. It's the same thing that I do when I'm mixing up the drink mixes from Norwegian Arctic field rations. I gotta fix it. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. It was almost to the point where it's gonna go, it's gonna give me the message saying I need to landscape my phone. Now I'm giving my grapefruit drink another mix. Still had not quite dissolved. Kind of a yellow theme going on here. Now I'm going to open up my beef potato hot pot, or just beef potato pot. going to use my long spoon to reach into the bag to get it out. A bag like this would be great for eating it. Say if I were to take this to camp and I didn't want to mess with so many dishes, I could just eat it right out of the bag, and I have done that with some of the other entrees that I've taken that were freeze-dried. It doesn't look like a whole lot. I mean, there's supposed to be other veggies in here, but let's see if we can get that to focus. The beef is like a pulled beef, so it's a shredded beef, not a ground beef. Just scrolling back through the chat, see if I missed anything. So there, you can see a bit of carrot right there. The tomato is pretty much all dissolved into it. It's actually pretty good. I'm going to take a bite of this bread. No condiments, no spread or anything like that came with this. It tastes just like a dense rye bread. It is pretty dense. So they added something or did something to it to make it shelf stable. Yes, like I said, these breads are dense, but they're not hard, which is really nice. It's an easy to eat bread, and I could dip it into here. Well, it may look like that, but and I might have added just a hair too much water. But it tastes good though. I probably did need to let it sit a little bit more. Sometimes the meat can take a lot longer to rehydrate. Now I'm going to take a taste of this core shake. The powder does not completely dissolve, so you get this kind of powdery stuff. It doesn't taste very fruity like I thought it would. It is kind of different. but I'm sure it would get the job done for someone who needed to get the energy from it. Take a bite of the turkey jerky. I can pick up a slight hint of sweetness from the honey. I'm definitely getting the mustard. So that flavor is definitely there. I'm going to take a taste of this grapefruit drink. It's not very strong, so you probably could get away with using less water to mix that with, so you would actually get some of the grapefruit flavor. So no dessert of any kind. You'd probably have to consider your shake as a dessert. Yeah, dipping this bread in here. Yep, that's a good way to do it. I do like this, and I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy the other one just as well. That one is also a beef one. It's the beef pasta bolognese. Yeah, that is the Echo. And these don't have menu numbers, they have menu names. Like this one is Foxtrot. These names come from words that are used by the military. Say they may use a word to represent a letter if they're spelling out something. It's kind of like using a code, but it's words to represent letters. Like, say you have a word that has the letter F in it, instead of just saying F, you'd say Foxtrot. Or instead of E, you would say Echo. You know, just like that. If you've ever heard people spell like that. And it also could be words used to put a name on a specific task or mission or something like that. That coffee's pretty good. I have another one of these pour over coffees, so when I do the other one, I will get that pour over coffee out. That one is a Costa Rican coffee, so that one should be really good. now that I have an additional ration in my ration box, the one I bought off of someone on Facebook that already had this Polish, I refer to it as a shooter's ration. It's the Polish ration in the gray camo bag. And it's the beef goulash. I've had that one before. I really like it. I told that person that it would be coming up on my channel for review. So that one may come up after I get back from my family trip. So that would be August 6th. Next week, I am going to get out that spinach fettuccine MRE and add a pouch of chicken chunks. And I may do a little something to it, just to jazz it up even more. I think because this powder and the shake was very clumpy. I don't know if it was originally that way when it was put into that bag, or if it just got that way over time. And Deanna in the house. Thanks for dropping in. First time I'm seeing your name here. Yeah, it does. That menu has been taken out of the USMRA lineup. So it is no longer being, I think it went out, is it 21? 2021 is when it got replaced. I don't know. Someone could look that up. But I actually like it, but I like it even better when I add chicken. Yeah, I'm sure soldiers who were issued that particular one were probably looking to trade up to get something different. Or they only ate it because they had no other option. This jerky, it's nice and tender. It's easy to chew. Yeah, the chicken with the spinach fettuccine, they both complement each other because you get that savoriness from the chicken, get a little bit of the saltiness from the chicken broth, and then you get something from the fettuccine, the cream sauce, to also flavor the chicken. Yeah, I may just throw some additional seasonings in it. I'm not sure what yet, but I am going to be doctoring it up even more than just adding the chicken to it. Yeah, I do have some cilantro in my spice cabinet, so I could get that out. I could throw a little Old Bay in there. Or I could put a little hot sauce on it, or some chili powder. Yeah, I like to put Old Bay in a lot of things. I have never tried that one. I've had the MCW turkey tetrazzini, and I really like that. It would be interesting to get my paws on one of those just to see how that one has held up over time, especially if it was stored well. Well, apparently, who knows, maybe that was just one of those that was an absolute fail. I don't know if I've ever seen a reviewer actually enjoy that one. Of course, I've only seen it a few times on YouTube, and it's been a while since I last seen anyone open one of those up. I still have the other main from that Singapore ration. It was like the tomato rice with chicken. I still have that one. I have a few things that I could put that together with to make a meal. And of course, I have several different of the Minotaur freeze-dried entrees and some sides. Yeah, too bad all of those went to crap. I mean, it would have been interesting to actually taste it. I'm sure when it was fresh, it was probably at least decent. Unless it was crappy back then, too. There have only been a couple that I absolutely could not eat. One was the one that the retort pouch literally delaminated as I was getting ready to open up, and I looked at it, that nope, that one might be compromised, so I didn't even open that pouch because you could literally see through the clear inner layer what the contents look like. Umberto's here. Thanks for dropping in. This is the Estonian-made tactical ration bag, or tactical food pack as they're sometimes called. This is Foxtrot. And the main is a beef potato pot. So it's kind of like a stewed beef and potato. With some carrot, but any other veggies in there pretty much just become one with the gravy. But it still tastes good. Yeah, I actually got a decent deal on both of these rations, and neither of them got messed with. So I was very happy with that. Well, it must be very, very humid. Maybe just skip the baby powder and go straight to cornstarch. Now, this turkey jerky is pretty good. It's not dry. Yeah, that's basically it. It would be nice to have a source like Sue over at Eats, Treats, and MREs. She has gotten other versions of this ration for, I think she's gotten deals on it. Of course, if you buy more than one, I think you can get a deal from the particular supplier she has gotten them from. So you can see all the residue that sticks to the glass from this core shake. This rye bread, it's good to dip it in this. And thanks for dropping in, Emberto. Hope to see you another time. I normally do these live reviews every Sunday, 7 p.m. U.S. Central, 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern, except for on July 30. I will not be online because I will be at camp. Had to decline a phone call, which would have killed my stream. I didn't recognize the number, so probably a scammer. I'll check it later. When I had cell service on my Samsung Galaxy S5, just the incoming call, regardless of whether I declined it or accepted that call, I would get kicked offline. Whereas this one, I can stay online, and declining the call does not kick me off. Yeah, they are. They're absolutely annoying. There's James Ortiz in the house. Thanks for dropping in. This is the menu Foxtrot. And Domain had a Best Buy day of 2030. And this bag can be used as an FRH. There's the heating element. And when you close the zipper seal, that hole will allow the steam that's generated to vent out. But because this is a freeze-dried entree, I would not have needed the FRH feature, but it's nice to have it. And so because of that, I'm going to keep that bag. I put when it was shipped to me, the heating elements were not sealed in the bag. They were just tossed into the shipping box. Because these bags were factory sealed. Customs did not mess with them, even though they shipped from another country. But because the bag does have that capability to be used as an FRH, I'm going to keep it. I'll just fold it up, put it inside a Ziploc bag that I have other ration heaters in. Now, speaking of grilled brats, that's what we had on July 4th over at my oldest sister's house. She came and picked me up after picking up my mom from her apartment, and then my other two sisters and my brother came. And we got to meet my oldest sister's new dog, a 10-year-old Whippet. Oops. Sorry about that. There we go. Sorry about that. This thing, eventually I'm going to have to get myself a new foam mount because the slightest bump can knock the part that actually holds my phone off kilter. It has a crack in it which does not allow me to tighten it up on the ball that it actually sits on, that allows it to be rotated. But I've had this thing a long time. I probably had it for about 3 or 4 years before I moved over here, and that was in October 31st of 2016 was when I moved into this place. So I have put a good amount of use on it. But I'll just keep using it until I just can't use it anymore. But I definitely will invest in a replacement. Now, this tray that you see me using tonight is my old 1983 Tupperware tray. I haven't brought it out in a while. I like to use it when I have a ration that doesn't have very many components, or when the main entree just produces a crap ton of food. Well, not quite, but yeah. My high school class had a fundraiser back in '83 when I was a junior, and we were raising money to go towards our senior class trip. And so we had a Tupperware party, and I bought a few pieces for my mom, and then I bought this tray for myself. And my mom was looking for a couple of Tupperware pieces, and I was able to get those for her from that party that I paid for myself. I didn't get anything free from it. But that was a big hit. We had a good sale, and a lot of people were able to get some stuff that they were looking for. I think Tupperware still makes these, but I have seen them on eBay, the older ones like this, and I've seen them in thrift stores. But before I got that green one that I use most often, this is the only tray that I was using for reviews. Now this is turkey jerky. It's the honey mustard. Now, yeah, you would definitely not want to eat a whole lot of this because of the high sodium. This entire ration has 7 grams of salt. You'll not be able to see that, but 7 grams. So that's a fair amount of salt. Yeah, fortunately, I have not had too much of an issue with high blood pressure. After my gallbladder surgery, I did. So I was on a blood pressure medicine for about a month or month and a half. But since then, I really haven't had much of an issue. And normally, of course, when you're cooking, you control the amount of salt that you put in something. But when I'm eating a pre-prepared food, I never add salt to it. Even if it tastes like it could use it, I just don't. Yep. Well, if you get certain Canadian IMPs, you can get some rock hard beef jerky. Although that last one that Canadian trucker opened up, that LMC or light meal combat, which is kind of the equivalent of a single meal of our first strike ration. The beef jerky in there was very tender and it was easy for him to chew. He had no problem with it. Now this grapefruit drink, you cut down the amount of water, you might get more of the grapefruit flavor. It looks like lemonade. It's got a very weak grapefruit flavor to it. And this core shake, it doesn't have as much of a fruity taste as I thought it would. I mean, it's still drinkable, it's just not something that I would enjoy drinking every day. And you can just see all the powder stuff that sticks to the side of the glass. And no hot drink option in here. So I have the Coffee Cow Company pour over Vietnamese coffee, which I add the sugar and creamer to, because that's how I drink my coffee. But that rye bread in this is good. I would definitely eat that again. Yeah, if you look at the MRE info site, is updated fairly regularly when new menus come out. They not only update the USMREs, the regular ones, the MCWs, the meal cold weather, the first strike rations, and the more packs or the modular operational ration enhancement packs. So those are updated fairly regularly with the new menu items, what's in them, what may be different from a previous version of a menu, if it is still in place. Say like something has changed with a component in the spaghetti menu. If something was taken out and then substituted with something else for the newer version, that site would have that information. And someone has been working on a database of Canadian rations, but I have no idea what the status of that is, if that one is still being worked on. And sometimes on that site, there may be people who will sell a ration. Although I have never tried to buy anything off of anyone else through that site. I've either bought mine on eBay or from someone on Facebook or a ration seller. You know, like MRE Mountain, where I got this one and the other tactical food pack ration that I have. That will be coming up in probably a couple of weeks. I may do that one. I'll go ahead and do that one the Sunday before I leave for camp. But All MREs is another site I've bought rations from. Minotaur Trading Company I used to buy things from, but there's not a whole lot left there. And of course, Foreign MRE is currently on hiatus, so to speak. I don't know if Art Nina will get back into that. But the site is still there, it just shows no inventory. I also bought one item from MRA Empire, but that was just a test to see what their shipping time is, how, what the package would look like when it arrives, and whether or not it would be rated. It wasn't. It was a veggie omelet, so it was not rated by customs. But I heard some months after that they're no longer shipping to the U.S. I don't know if it was because of a customs issue with all their packages being rated. I don't know. And of course, eBay does not sell as many rations. Apparently, I don't know if it's something about the flameless ration heaters, even when they are sealed inside of the ration bag or box or whatever it's packed in. I don't even think you can buy just packs of flameless ration heaters on there anymore. I haven't looked because I bought a pack of the really old school US ones. The kind that have the cardboard elements with the holes in it, and some of the innards of that element could come out through those holes. I suppose to in a pinch, if I really had to, I could bust open one of those up, take that element out, dump any loose bits that have escaped from the element down onto something, and then light it up on fire and use it as a fire starter. Well, that is it for everything as far as food goes. The only other items that came in the pack was this wet wipe, and this black spoon, which will get added to my bag of plastic spoons that I save for use in an emergency in the event that I have to severely restrict my water usage. Then I have all these plastic utensils to use that I don't have to worry about washing. I could just simply throw them into my trash. And at that time, I would be using my disposable tableware, plates and bowls and cups, because I keep a stash of those. I also store napkins, as well as paper towels, and so I have a couple of bags of these wet wipes. And anytime I get utensils, say when I go to my Transit Rider Advisory Committee meeting, the last Wednesday of the month, if I don't use the napkin or utensils or whatever, I simply bring those home. I figure, why throw those away when I could simply bring them home, add them to my stash, especially since the meals are usually just a sandwich, a bag of chips, and a cookie, and maybe something in a little cup, and a pickle. And then there's a little mini fridge up in that meeting room that is stocked with water and pop or soda that we can get. And of course, earlier last week. I was out on Monday. I was taking care of some things, and I wanted to go into a place for a quick lunch, and the Hy-Vee store near the Dart bus station has an eating area with different kinds of food, and I was in the mood for Chinese food. So even though I suck at using chopsticks, I grabbed a pair. Yeah, some people, even if they don't actually eat with chopsticks, they may use them at camp to stir whatever they're cooking or whatever, a drink that they're making. Of course, Zachary Fowler, the guy who has a channel called Fowler's Makery and Mischief, when he won one of the Alone seasons, he had no utensils, so he just carved up chopsticks and he just worked at getting better at eating with them. So that's his preferred way of eating now, is just with chopsticks. Of course, I have also collected a number of condiment packets, salt and pepper packets. Yep, all of those get saved in, of course, any seasoning packets I get that are not from a military ration, they go into my camping food bag. So I have a Ziploc bags with those in it. I actually have 2 Ziploc bags in there, but I will only take one on a trip, so the other one is merely a backup. Or I can choose between the two because I have the few different items in one that is not in the other. But that way, I use some. I still have some more I can go to replenish the one bag. And because these particular chopsticks are made out of bamboo, if I had to, I could simply burn them. I have picked up a few pairs of the plastic ones. I have those stashed away, so I have those as an option as well. I could practice with those if I wanted. And thanks for dropping in, Diana or Deanna. Yeah, I was not handed those chopsticks. They were just there on the counters. next to where they would put like a couple other things. So I just picked up a pair of them. Again, I do this every Sunday at 8 o'clock Eastern U.S. I just got a big clump that had not mixed up at all. It was like a hard clump of stuff that was half powdery. The other menu, the Echo menu that I have of this this ration line, and it has the same type of thing but a different flavor. The core shake is a different flavor. The energy drink is a different flavor. And no hot drink options, so I'll just pull out my other pour over coffee. So I will, so after I get back from my trip, I will order some rations from somewhere. But the Polish one will come up on August 6th. On the 30th, I'm going to Lake Icaria, which was my late dad's favorite Iowa lake. In fact, he used to camp there before the lake was even created. So it's a man-made lake. It used to be just an open campground, which has been expanded and upgraded over the decades. There are a few cabins that do not have bathrooms built into them, but most of the cabins do have bathrooms, and some are even wheelchair accessible. So for those that are using the cabins that don't have bathrooms, they have to go to the common bathrooms, the common shower house. But every cabin has its own fire pit and one, sometimes two picnic tables. And because of the size of our group and the amount of stuff we haul in, we get two cabins. The ones with, they hold 6 people. Although there are some newer cabins that were built within the last couple of years that can hold up to 10 or 12. That they're a lot more expensive to rent. But that lake also has memorial benches around it. And if you pay the county a certain amount of money, you can have a person's name put on one of those benches like my mom did several years ago. And this, it really didn't taste bad. It just tasted like half dissolved powder. I think that was the only big clump that had not quite dissolved, was that particular one. But it is definitely lacking in the fruit flavor. There is some bits of some kind of fruit pulp, but they're so small that I really can't make out what kind of fruit that's from. Or it's a combination of the different fruits that are in there. I mean, it's not nasty by any means. Now the sustagen from Australian rations, yeah, that stuff is nasty. Oops, sorry about that. I keep bumping this thing. Yeah, that sustagen, I've only had the chocolate one. Yeah, that one, it might as well, they better leave that one in the hospitals and nursing homes. That's where that stuff belongs. But the last CR1M that I had a different kind of protein shake in it. It actually tasted better, and I decided to mix it hot, like a hot cocoa, as an experiment. I don't think I could have gotten away with doing that with the sustagen. I would like to try some of the newer MCW menus. I have heard that a couple of menus got switched out. Since the last one that I had. It's been a few years since I had an MCW. But I would like to check out some of the newer menus. Yeah, they are very good. At least the ones that I've had. Though I had an issue with one. The outer bag did not indicate that it contained pork. I did not realize that until I opened up the bag and I took out the main, and it had ham printed on it. So obviously did not eat that. I ate everything else that was in that ration, but I just basically let people know that if they're looking for one that does not have pork in it, do not get that menu because it does. The outer bag just does not indicate it. It was an egg, like a scrambled egg type one. I don't remember exactly what it was called. But I have since given that one away to someone else. Yeah, we want to see you open up a few of those MCWs, dude. In fact, MCWs may be what I look to try to buy next month after I come back from my trip. I'll just have to see who has what and if I can get it at a good price. Of course, I would love to get some more foreign rations, but those are so much harder to get. Yeah, I haven't looked for MCWs for quite a while, but it must be hot where you're at because it's actually not too hot here today, although it's supposed to get in the upper 80s, close to 90, a couple of days this week. There is prepping life in the house. I've eaten all the food. And down to this weird shake. This is a flameless ration heater element, but the main entree was freeze dried, so obviously didn't need that capability. But this was made in Estonia. And these have ration names like Foxtrot. The other one that I have is Echo. There it says Estonia. The other one that I have is a beef pasta bolognese. Get it freeze dried. This is a tropical banana pineapple. They call it a core shake, so it's like a protein shake or something like that. It's got kind of a weird texture to it, very little fruit taste. And then this is a grapefruit drink that tastes, that even though I use the correct amount of water, it tastes very, very weak. It looks like lemonade. It's supposed to be grapefruit, but there's very little grapefruit flavor. No hot drink option, but this is like a potato and beef stew with a bit of carrot. There's supposed to be tomatoes and bell peppers, but they are pretty much dissolved into the gravy. And then there was some rye bread and some turkey jerky. No hot drink option, so I did a pour over coffee. And this is the old Tupperware tray that I have had since 1983. It came with the spoon made for big mouths. And a single wet wipe. And because the bag that it all came in can be used as a flameless ration heater, I am going to keep it as such. In fact, the bag itself is gusseted at the bottom. So I can just fold this up. I can fold it up that small and pack it away with my other flameless ration heaters. That I can save for a time when I absolutely have to use them. And because that bag is so big, I could put a larger item in there, like a can or two. Oops, sorry about that brief disconnect. Upper 80s for here, maybe 90 on a couple of different days. earlier, like last month, they were saying the rest of the summer could be really hot, but it hasn't been all that hot, but it has been drier than normal. We had less than half the rain we're usually supposed to get in June. And then that last bit of rain that we had, on Friday, it was very, very light. So when I went to Walgreens yesterday, I ride the bus and I looked over at the river, the Des Moines River. Is still very, very low. It's a lot lower than it's supposed to be at this time. Oh, dang, Cliff, you need to send all that water down to Lake Mead. I heard that it's dropping again. That the water level there was up, but it had since dropped again. So if that lake continues to drop, then might as well stop calling it Lake Mead and call it Puddle Mead. For our water, we get our water from the Des Moines River and the Raccoon River. Down by the water treatment plant is where those rivers actually meet up. Yeah, it's all over Iowa has been dry, and the grass is getting brown again. That little bit of rain really didn't help green it up a whole lot. And if it keeps like it has been, some towns have already gone to requesting that people stop watering their lawns, or at least don't do it as often, or stop washing their cars at home. Basically, voluntary water conservation. Some places have already gone to that. There is Steve Brahms, also known as Wheel in the House. Thanks for dropping in. My other Iowa brother in the house. Working his tail off. Getting stuff to the different farmers markets that they sell to. Yeah, I bet someone is probably going to crash not too, you know, in a short time. I got stuff to harvest, other plants to tend, animals to take care of. You know, eggs to collect. Yeah, the Brahms family, they're a busy bunch. I got to see part of their setup. And it's very, very well put together down there, even though it can look like chaos sometimes, but it's very cool to see how much they're able to do there. Yep, this is what I had tonight, the beef and potato pot. They put different languages on these bags, which is really cool. These do not include a hot drink option, so I did a pour over coffee. Vietnamese coffee, and it's pretty good. I would definitely buy that brand again. And next week I'm going to have some fun with the creamy spinach fettuccine emery and a pouch of the chicken chunks and some seasonings for my kitchen. I'm probably one of the few people who actually like that particular menu. It's no longer in production, but you can still find them out there. So I'll do that next week, and then the week after I'll do the tactical food pack, the Echo, which is a beef pasta bolognese. Then on the 30th, I'll be at camp, so I won't be live. I'll be with my family at Lake Icaria. So I usually do some prep stuff ahead of time for that, like I go ahead and buy some halal meats like beef bacon or beef breakfast sausage from Halal Groceries. So I'm going to go in there tomorrow. Plus, I want to do a little bit more grocery shopping elsewhere. And then I will be doing some laundry to have a few items that I can go ahead and set aside for that week. So I do a little bit at a time before that week. That way I'm not going crazy trying to get stuff put together to pack for that trip. That way it's all done. Sometimes might even have that suitcase completely packed and ready to go 3 or 4 days in advance, and all I have to do is just haul it downstairs for my driver to put in whatever vehicle I'll be going in. We take our own pillows because they have bunk beds in the cabins. And then one of my sisters brings sheets, so we don't use sleeping bags. We use just regular bed sheets. And then we bring our own towels. In fact, those my sisters specifically keep in a separate area from their regular daily user stuff. They're only for the family camping trip, and that's it. They don't get used at any other time, unless in an emergency where they have no choice but to dip into that. I got a set of bed sheets that are still in their original packaging, and I'm keeping them that way for a reason. They're kind of like my emergency stash for bed sheets. So, so I take my pillow, my beach towels in my suitcase. I have a cooler that I'll put in any food that I bring, and then when we meet up to finish packing the vehicles, then we may consolidate some of that. And probably still end up using my cooler. It's one of those soft-sided coolers. It's not the hard cooler like the ones that they use, but it can still be used to store things in, so sometimes it may go on the trip with us, sometimes not, and it would just stay at one of my sister's houses until we get back, and then we separate our stuff. That's pretty much how we do it. And my second oldest sister will have her Blackstone, plus a Coleman propane stove. Plus we make use of the fire pit that's there. Except, if there is a fire ban put into place, then we may not use a fire pit. I'm hoping we do, because Even though my great niece is now 12, she may still want to practice starting a fire. Okay, that weird. My screen just dimmed a bit. Yeah, that looks a bit. I thought it dimmed. I thought it was gonna disconnect again, but I guess not. Yeah, that's pretty much how we do it. And of course, we all take our fishing rods, because mine is a collapsible rod. I keep it in my rod bag with a little bit of fishing tackle. So hopefully it'll do better with the fishing than we did last year. Last year it was not good. I only caught one little bluegill last year. It was our last night, and I was wanting to bring my line in so I could pack my rod up. And there's that little bluegill catching it on the way up. So obviously that little fish went back into the drink. But at least I wasn't skunked. So I hope to do better this time. Well, that's okay. I'm probably going to kick out of here anyway, since I don't even have much of my drinks left. Wash that weirdness down with this. I do want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight, for checking out this pretty interesting ration. And I do look forward to trying the second one. But next week, I'm going to be having fun with some chicken and spinach fettuccine. Anyway, thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.